Saturn in Pisces is really a placement that has a lot of strenuous anger in it. Stays from the base, moves up to the spine, ends up exhausting itself through depletion of the efforts of the other individuals involved. The efforts of what can be considered I'm being victim, I'm being martyr, I'm being sacrificer. The thing with Saturn and Pisces is that it ages really, really well because it understands that there are things in life that are meant to fall away from us, that we are meant to leave behind, and that we are meant to let go of in order to move forward. Now, this episode I'm doing because it felt intuitively right to do it this time. My intuition said, record this. And so I'm doing this. Feels vibrational, like a vibrational match. And with this, I'm going to surrender all anxieties, all stress, and just relax, knowing everything's okay. And I invite you into this space with me of awareness and calm and peace. We don't have to worry, we don't have to fret. We just can be slowing down. So slow down with me and enjoy this journey of Saturn and Pisces. So, Saturn flows. That's the very first thing we need to know. Flows with a lot of ease. Flows like the water. It's wet. It's fluid. That is how it tends to operate, is in that kind of way. This is kind of a thing where really tends to become very, very fluid, very, very flowing, very, very adaptable. The downside of Saturn and Pisces is it can feel like a victim. It can feel like it has all the universe working against it. It can feel like it's not in control. It can feel that it doesn't have power, that it's just powerless to change its circumstances, and whatever the depression that they're in, whatever depressed state they're in, whatever difficult state they're in, whatever really, really challenging state they're in that feels like they can't move on from it, they can't see past it, they can't see light from it, they feel that moving on is impossible, that they cannot transcend this state of being, that they cannot transcend this feeling of hopelessness. They cannot transcend this feeling of despair and grief. And Pisces deals with sorrow. That's what I read. This way what came across is grief, is sadness. So there's multiple ways of describing it. It's essentially what it is all about. So sorrow sort of has this lesson attached to it. Things change. Life does not stay the same. It changes. Things change. We are meant to evolve as spiritual beings. We are meant to not be in the same state as we were previously in. We're meant to understand that time changes. Life goes on in and of itself. We have to be fluid. We have to be adaptable. We have to be willing to flow with change that the universe is giving us. Now, we may feel limited in terms of our compassion and our empathy. We may feel cut off in terms of this. We may feel like being really, really deeply selfless or loving. I wouldn't use the word loving, not selfless. Loving, open-hearted. That these people have a limitation around this. It's not easy for them to open up. It's not easy for them to just flow compassionately because they feel like, ooh, it's not safe to do so. A lot of Pisces placements can just flow from one state to another and do all this. This placement has a lot of anxiety around that, chronic anxiety around it. But they can really, really develop it rather well. They can really, really develop their compassion and their empathy deeply. I'm going out of order in this video because I'm doing Saturn through the signs, and the next video will be Saturn in Sagittarius after this, and then 2 more left, and then I will have completed the series of Saturn through the signs. So they will have been limited in terms of needing to develop their empathy and compassion in deep, profound, healing ways. They will need to develop this to become strong, to become loving, to fill up their own cup and just exude compassion and empathy out. We feel like we are getting into a whirlpool of sadness. We're getting so sucked in by the sorrow, by the difficult emotion, by all those things going on. But can we remember that we are set, that we can be sovereign, that we can have control over our emotional states of being, that we do not have to become a burden or a martyr towards these very, very difficult states of being that bubble up for us. We don't have to be a victim to these feelings of depression and sorrow. That we are meant to experience letting go and release at some point in our spiritual journey, at some point in our lives. We are meant to undergo this process. And so can you, let go of a lot of things, of what kind of attachments that you're holding on to? What kind of attachments are you hatching yourself onto? That you're like, no, this attachment is not meant for me. I, on a soul level, am meant to let go of this attachment and move on past the golden barriers of gate standing, past those golden gates of frothing, past the ways of being that come at it from a deep, loving place of change, of letting go. So we are meant to let this go. we're meant to transcend this in a way so that we can be fully free to be totally who we want to be and totally ourselves. Now, this loss that we feel, that we can't get over, necessarily speaking, or achieve this loss in any reasonable matter of time, that we feel like we can't rise above the loss, that we can't find a way out of it, that we're stuck in it. You know, when Saturn was less in Pisces, I was so stuck in depression. I was so stuck in guilt from all the videos and YouTube channels that I've deleted, and all the channel surfing I've done. It was really, really tough. And then the OCD that was going on too. My curiosity and motivation and desire for life was taken away from me. I was very guilty. I was remorseful. I wanted, it was so severe, I'm going to tell you honestly. I did have the thought of wanting to end my life. And that was a really severe summer of 2024 when Saturn was in Pisces, and the previous summer with the OCD going on. My curiosity, my enjoyment out of things, my entertainment factor went down and it went away. And not only that, but just having the enthusiasm for making videos. What was the point? I already got rid of so many. So the hospital experience that I had at the end of 2025 into 2026 really was the change, the transformation that I undergone through that 3-week period of being in the hospital. Yes, it was that long. It was a really difficult process, but I'm on the other side of that, and I can thank my lucky stars for that. I can thank my higher power. I can thank my divine support system for that. I mean, there's a lot of things, higher forces I can thank. But we feel like no amount of time matters. In no amount of time in our life can we get over this feeling of loss, of having lost something. And in fact, we can. Wounds and pain and guilt, it heals over time. It heals through time. Time heals all wounds, and it heals all despair, and it heals all pain, all sorrow, all grief. And I think that can really be so healing and refreshing for all of us to know that time can really help us along our pathway in that particular way. Aspects of ourselves. Parts of ourselves that were in the shadows. Parts of ourselves that were old. That were the past versions of ourselves. These versions will die away. These versions will have to be let go of. These versions will have to be purged and perished. in order for us to truly evolve, in order for us to go about shadow work, we must be willing to change. We absolutely have to be willing to change. The universe is having something fall away from our lives because it is asking us to let this go and to change, to reevaluate our priorities, to go, you know what, this was never meant for me in the beginning, where this was meant to fall away, so I meant to go on a new path. So take it as a sign if this should ever happen, to go on a new path, to go in a new direction, to help you on a mental, emotional, and psychological level for your own healing, for your own well-being. I've had a lot of anxiety lately about my channel going away. I'm constantly in a state of fear and anxiety, and earlier today I was just so tense in my body. And I had to meditate. I had to relieve the tension as it was knotting up inside my stomach, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I know that whatever happens tomorrow or the next day or whenever, I will be okay. I will be okay. I will get through it. I've done everything I can to protect my channel. It hasn't gone away so far. I don't think it'll go away tomorrow. But I'm just going to let go. That's the key. Is to not be in a state of rigid control, holding on to the control, trying to, just want, like, take a nice big breath and let go and let God handle it. Handing something over to your higher power is so huge. It can be so liberating to surrender your anxieties, your fear, your pain, your sadness, and handing it over to God, letting Him take care of it, knowing that whatever you will experience in your life, your soul is ready. It's the right time, you're ready. God is loving, and God will help you through that and help you through your life by having these experiences happen to you that will evolve and transform you, because God, or the universe, the spirit, or whatever you call it, loves you, and it is so incredibly wise. So, I think it's so right on time that I'm talking about all this tonight, because this resonates with me so much right now. Life goes on. We can't be stuck in the past. We can't be stuck in the old story. We have to be willing to let it go. We have to be willing to say, you know what, that's done and dusted. That of what happened was in the past. It was in the past. And I can't change it. I can't go back and improve it. I can't go back and fix it. All I can do is to let go and move on. That's what I can do. Is to just go on with my life. Away from this anxiety. Away from this attachment, this thing that happened that left you so much in a state of devastation and perilous fear. Now is the time to just move on with this. Now, to go through letting go and transformation and change is humbling. It is a humbling experience. It asks you to let go of your attachment to seeing things a certain way and to having things a certain way. That's ego. where you are becoming one with your soul, one with your divine essence, one with your higher self. And you are being courageous and willing, because it takes courage and it takes willingness and humility to let go of those things and to be willing to move through the process of change, to do the inner work, and yes, it is work, to ultimately be willing to change. Now, Pisces is very, very generous. Pisces is an incredibly generous energy. In Pisces energy, it just gives. It just distributes. It just shares, because it doesn't want to claim ownership over things. It says everything has a spirit and everything is one. So it belongs to all of us. We can share it around. We can have it flowing and all that kind of thing. Like, wouldn't it be great if money, wouldn't it be great if money was designed that way, where it would be a shared, flowing thing that was available for us? And I think that if it were, we'd be living in a much better, more peaceful, more loving world, instead of the ego need to have it and to work so hard for it and get it and to claim it as your own and be selfish with it and, this and that. We made our world so low vibration and so complicated. And if only money was a shared resource. There are some aspects to it that need to be looked at, need to be improved, and need to be reevaluated, I think. But think of resources are free, possessions are free. I'm thinking of that song, Imagine a World Without Possessions. There would be things, but it would be all shared. I would have to own something just to, protect it. Like having to protect an item from getting taken by somebody else. I think that that's what they mean by possessions. You just felt secure, like you could just let it go, and not hold so tightly to it. So I've noticed that for the past 2 months, I have been in this tension in my body when I have done these recordings. Some kind of insecurity and just barely moving through it. I don't think that I've allowed myself time enough to let go and just surrender. And I'm exhausted from holding on. I'm exhausted from fight or flight. I'm exhausted from being on edge. I'm just ready now to just let everything go. And I want to let go. This is not a real feeling that you feel inside your body. This is a real feeling. Excuse me. You feel it inside your body. You feel it inside your mind and your soul. And you have a dark night of the soul. When you ultimately will go through that shadow healing process that asks you to release and shed something that you're holding on to, that you're afraid to let go of. When you move on, it feels like you're leaving behind your emotions of sorrow and grief. But this can be liberating. You are releasing attachment. I don't think this is a bad thing. They described it as a bad thing, but I don't think that they should describe it as, anyway, TMI. Point being, is when you leave behind sorrow, you release attachment to the things that was in the past, were in the past. You leave behind the past occurrences, the past experiences, the past events that occurred. Leave it all behind. And you move on and you feel more free and you feel more peaceful and more liberated. This meditation, flying your bird, you get out of anxiety, you get out of sorrow, you get out of fight or flight and into a state of perspective and freedom. It can really bring peace to your soul. And I think that peace to your soul is the most important thing. Feeling at peace with yourself is the most important thing. It really is. Sorry, I'm drinking this. It's a time for kindness, sadness, and there are times in life when moving on, just like you mourn the death, like I'm reading a book right now, in a scene where a man is dying and the rector or the minister is holding his hands on his chest and speaking words of his passing as he's going away, like they are dying from a plague. So they're all having to mourn, go through all this loss and all this letting go of all these people in their village, in their society. So there's a time for, all this. It's all in divine timing. It's all divinely right on time. Now, people with Saturn and Pisces can be deeply compassionate towards the suffering of others, deep compassion for others going through difficult times, through poor people on the streets, for instance, or, people in their personal life with whatever they're going through. They really hold space and really have a lot of love and gentleness, and they want to be there for them. They want to give them a hug. They want to be, just by being, giving love and giving wisdom and giving, consoling them and easing their pain. They want to be that rock of comfort for the people in their lives. They can hold a lot of space for others. They can absorb emotions. Remember, Pisces is a sign that just absorbs all of these emotions and all these feelings. And everybody's emotion, because it's a sponge. Pisces is a sponge. Pisces are sponges. They can be empathic. They feel the world so personally. There's a card from Call It Baron reads, 7 Energies Oracle card called Feeling the World. It's from her deck, Feeling the World. And that is so Pisces and Saturn. Listening to what the messages of their feelings are. It's really important. They listen to what their feelings are trying to tell them. And they trust in the divine. They trust in spirit that everything will happen in its own way at its own time. In the divine way that the universe works. Everything will happen in the way that it's meant to, when it's meant to. Releasing control over needing to know the time, and the day, and the place. Releasing the need to be in control of that. And releasing the need for structure, for a plan, for a definite, concrete answer. That's key. They will learn little by little as they go through life. The universe unfolds the path for them. They allow the path to unfold little by little as they go through the course of their life. They will trust in spirit. Pisces represents rebirth. Remember, Pisces is the last sign of winter. It is the sign where the sun is in the last sign of the zodiac. During the time of the year in Northern Hemisphere, spring is coming up. Life is just starting to come up. There's a little bit of greenery, there's a little bit of warmth there. Sort of the passageway of things starting to become alive again. Things starting to, especially in the Northwest, where I live, the Midwest United States, where that is the case where I live in Iowa. So, letting something old die in order for something new to be reborn, and becoming and drawing in the drawing of the new age and the beginning of something new, the beginning of something that you never expected before. Something brand new, totally different from what you needed before, what you experienced before. They want to give help, and they teach that life will give you opportunities to receive and offer help and compassion towards others, because Pisces rules collective suffering, collective pain, and it says that you're not alone. We are all one. We are all suffering and in this boat together. We are all equal in this way. We are all experiencing life separately, yet in a connected way. We are all meant to experience this life not separate from each other, but connected in a divine network of light and love and joy and peace. Compassion needs to be infinite. It must be flowing, it must be free, it must be abundant. It can't be limited. What I was reading was like scarcity and how you can suck all the compassion out because you never know it's going to go away. Again, no, Pisces compassion is, Saturn represents scarcity, and Jupiter, which is the ruler of Pisces, is abundance, is the plenty, bounty. And in Pisces energy, compassion just flows from one person to another. We all can be compassionate. It's all available for all of us to be compassionate, to show compassion, to be in the energy of compassion, and to really, really thrive in that energy. So we're learning how to heal through Saturn and Pisces. And I think that over the course of Saturn's transit in Pisces, we've healed that a lot. And what spiritual practices will you make someone who has Saturn and Pisces watching this? Maybe it's a practice of compassion, it's a practice of empathy, it's a practice of Reiki or Oracle cards meditation to calm your mind, to calm your nervous system, to connect you with the divine, to get you into an altered state, or Oracle cards connecting with the universe, getting insight, getting meaning, whatever it is, being in a sort of constant state of being. You cannot not have a state of being. So you might as well choose something peaceful, something spiritual, something positive. something that brings you calm and serenity on a soul level. Make that your state of being. Say, I'm going to be very, very discerning, and I'm going to absolutely make peace and love and happiness my ultimate states of being, that I choose to walk onto like a docking station, that I choose to hold on and gravitate towards these states of being, and I choose to make my state of being the absolute top priority in my life. Treat yourself with compassion. Treat yourself with self-love, self-respect. And when you fill up your cup, when you love yourself, when you're truly connected to your spirit and connected to the divine, connected with your source, you love yourself and you accept yourself as you are, because you know you are an embodiment of God in human form. You are a spiritual being first, a human being second. And you treat others with compassion from that feeling of plenty, from that feeling of love. You just disperse that and share that out to others, and it just ripples across your relationships. You treat people much better, much more harmoniously. You don't have to go through the whole thinking of how should I consider others, how should I make this tactful, do like anything fake and authentic just dies away. You treat others with love and compassion from a spiritual place, and harmony, true harmony reigns because you chose to put yourself first in your own life. So you put the spiritual on the material. You can blend these things together. You can blend the worlds together. You can crystallize your dreams. You can blend the what is material. You can take the divine and put the divine realms. You have any dream, and you can work to make that dream a reality. Work to co-create that dream. And the thing with Saturn and Pisces is it's flowing. Does it gently. It doesn't force outcomes like Aries. Like Aries has a will. Aries forces things. Aries has the drive. Aries pushes for things. Saturn and Pisces just allows spirit to take over. You can have healing of past karma. But Saturn and Pisces transit with a lot of healing of past karma. A lot of that. Where a lot of past baggage. Because Pisces, we're thinking about the end of the zodiac. It's all culminating. So Pisces is release, Pisces is healing. Before moving on to the new beginning, we have to heal and release the old ways of being. So healing the past karma that you felt judged and rejected by others, felt ostracized, felt oppressed, felt outcast from others, that you weren't accepted, that you weren't loved for the beautiful divine essence of the person that you truly are. And now you can have that healing, have that kindness, have that love, where you cannot be in victim consciousness of having to just please others. People please. Oh, why me? Why is the universe doing this to me? The downside of Pisces energy is victimhood. Feeling like you don't have any power. But knowing that you do have power to co-create your life the way that you want to create it. You are the creator of your own life with the help of spirit as your partner. That's the truth. We all have a divine spirit that we can tap into to guide our lives. And it's always there for us. Our angels, our guides, God are always at our beck and call, always available for us at whatever time desperately need it. Him or her, whatever gender you decide. It's always available. It is always available. And when we feel truly held and safe and not alone, that we have a way to co-create our lives with spirit, that we can relate, form a relationship with the divine, that we are connected to the divine, we find a lot of healing and a lot of evolution come into our lives. Saturn and Pisces can really surrender to spiritual peace and connection with the oneness of all that is, because Pisces is oneness. Think of Pisces as the ocean. In Pisces energy, we are connected to everyone and everything. There is no separation. There are no boundaries. We are connected to the oneness that exists in the world, the oneness of spirit, the oneness of the divine. That we can become one with everything and everyone. That we're not separate, we're all the same, we're all equal. You can have a lot of wisdom, a lot of spiritual wisdom. And wisdom is insight, knowledge based on experience. Now, you can have spiritual discipline that is deeply intuitive wisdom. You are choosing to choose your state of being, that you are choosing to trust your intuition with wherever you're going. You're choosing to flow, but you're also choosing to create practices and create structure around Saturn is sort of interesting in Pisces, because Saturn is structure and form, and Pisces is like formless. But really, it can be creating a structure towards the spiritual practices that we can practice. All these things which help get you connected to the universe and the divine. Now, what creative vision do you want for your life that you want to co-create? Focus on it, hone in on it, laser focus your energy on it, and develop the will to achieve it. Again, flowing, intuitive, using the divine as your support system, because you get to be the creator of your own reality. Focus on your higher spiritual purpose. Anyone with Saturn and Pisces, it's very important for them to not get out of what society wants from them in terms of their job, in terms of their career, in terms of how they need to make the money, and this and that. No. Focus on your higher spiritual purpose. What you came here to do as a soul, as an intuitive, as somebody who is an emissary and a stewarding the divine. I think the word is conduit for the divine. I'm using all these words to you. Spiritual information, spiritual wisdom to you. Focus on authenticity and truth. Being your true self. With whatever you're doing in your life, being your true self. Not dimming who you are, and creating order out of chaos. Taking all the messy pieces and just cleaning it all up and creating structure to it, because deep down, you need structure. And so you can allow your intuition to help you to create that structure and help clean up the disorganized, messy parts of it. And part of that, too, is acceptance of that life is messy. Life is a gorgeous mess. Life, intuition is not organized. It isn't put in little boxes, little cubbies, little structures. like, okay that there was a mess, okay that there was fluidity and things are not exactly perfect and organized. And they're not meant to be. This world is not the most organized, perfect, this world is perfectly imperfect. That's how this world is. So, can you protect your boundaries also? Do not sacrifice yourself out of a need to be so compassionate that you're just leaving yourself behind, that you're loving yourself, that you're protecting your peace. This gives you opportunities for mindfulness, for meditation, for self-reflection, and all these things can really, really help you connect to your divine support system. You can have boundaries to protect your energy and your well-being. Being both compassionate and true to yourself, where then you can have healthier, authentic relationships, more authentic relationships in your life because you put yourself first, because you love yourself. That will reflect in the relationships that you have, that the relationships will be more aligned with your soul, that the relationships will be more harmonious, more loving, more considerate, more balanced and fair, because you put yourself first, because you didn't sacrifice. Because I think that if you sacrifice, the universe will give you a lot of demanding and a lot of maybe narcissistic at worst people who are really, really egoic. But the universe can present all these states of being if you do not just let go and don't overthink the process and just stop self-sacrificing and put yourself first. And say no. No is a full sentence. Say no, I'm not going to do this for you at this time. I need to protect my peace. I need to protect my state of being. And if we would all respect each other's sovereignty and individuality and what our needs and wants are without stopping over others, that's how we can truly live and relate to one another in a soul-centered world. And I think that we are slowly and surely creating that soul-centered world. And it's up to us, because we are the co-creators, to create that more loving world where everyone is allowed to be themselves. And we are all connected to the divine. We are all part of the divine. We're all, we're just parts of the universe. We're just specks out of the whole universe that exists. So, anyway, I think that's all I want to say about that. Anyway, this has been, let me see how long this has been. This has been, 48 minutes. Pretty good. Hope that you enjoyed this. I know that this was a little bit slow and meditative. This was the mood that I was in. I'm doing this in the evening. I originally didn't plan to do this because I just wanted to rest, but I was like, I can't not do this video. I just am feeling in the perfect state of being to talk about this. And so it's right on time with what resonates for me right now. As of so many things that happen in 2026, and I'll be back tomorrow to discuss the ascendant in Aquarius, discussing how they're moving towards freedom and individuality and authenticity, and I'll be discussing that in depth in that episode tomorrow. So this is not the final episode of the Saturn, the sign series, but it is the final placement of Saturn sign series. I have Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius to get to left. This was different than the other ones. I wanted to look at this from a different angle than I normally look at, the other Saturn placements. So, thanks for tuning in. All my love. Bye for now.